Hello crafty friends, it's Donna here from Donna is Playing Paper and Donna Doll 74 on Instagram. And today I have a 3D easel card for you, featuring all the rainbows. We're going to start with the Arches border metal die and some rainbow twirl paper. Other than the sentiment of your choice, this is really the only things that you need for this card. I'm going to cut these arches twice from white cardstock. I'm using 110 pound cardstock, which is quite thick. If I were using a thinner cardstock, I'd have probably cut it 3 times. I don't want those rainbows to be too flimsy once they're standing out from the card. The second time I'm cutting this, I'm positioning it a little bit higher on the paper. I'd rather have some excess paper to cut off at the bottom than to have not enough there. And then I'm going to do some very simple blending, in rainbow order of course. I'm using 2 colour blends for each of these arches, and in order to make it easier for myself, I have a scrap of paper which I'm just sliding down between the arches and moving after I colour each one. This means that other than the very bottom of the arch, I don't need to be too careful, and I can colour right down the sides of the cardstock, something which I probably should have paid a little bit more attention to. In the finished card, you can still see a couple of little white areas. I've had this die in my stash for a long time, and I have a page of ideas of things that I've been wanting to do with it. And every time I get it out, it seems that I grab something else instead and a different card is made. So I'm really pleased to finally use this. I'm trying to get better at leaving the pen lids standing face up on my work surface so that you can see which colours I used. My natural tendency is to hold them in my hand while I work. Mostly I've remembered to do this, although sometimes a little bit late. But here, I missed a little bit of footage, and so you'll see them layered out from left to right for those outer arches of this rainbow. You can see that I've done 3 separate rainbows really. One with the warm pinks and reds and yellows, one moving from green through to aqua, and the last one using cooler pinks and cooler blues. Once the colouring's done, I'm going to glue these 2 panels together so that my rainbows are nice and sturdy. I'm just using little tiny dots of glue, making sure that I have enough here and there, and also a little dot right at the top of each rainbow so that it can't pull apart from the top. And you can see here the benefit of cutting that second rainbow a little bit higher up. The non-coloured rainbow has a little bit of card sticking out the bottom, and I can easily trim that off and make my card nice and even. I often make my own card bases. This one is going to be US sized, and so this is a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock. I really like the Neenah. It's expensive and I have to get it from America, but it's a lovely shade of white. It's not a grey white. It's a nice, bright, warm white. And I use the 110 pound cover cardstock for this. 1 sheet of paper will make 2 cards, and so I'll put one aside for later and then get on with this card, which needs an extra fold. I'm just using my little rainbow piece to mark where that extra fold will be. And as luck would have it, it turns out that it's exactly on the 1 1/4 inch mark. And so I'll do another score there and fold that. When you're scoring and folding, the thing I always remember is to turn the valley into a mountain. And then you know you've scored it in the correct way, that it'll give you a nice clean edge on your fold. I'm using this piece of rainbow twirl paper, and I want the background to look like sky, and so I'm going to start with that blue section at the top. After I've scored off 1.5 inches at the bottom, I have exactly 3 inches left. And so I cut my paper to 3 inches and then decided that I'd like a little bit of a white border. And so I've cut 1/8 of an inch off the left hand side, right hand side and top. I haven't cut any extra off the bottom because I'm going to put that right down to the fold. And then I'm going to do what I should have done earlier and just rub out those little pencil marks. I also want to put a little piece of rainbow paper on the next layer below the rainbows, and that was 1.25 inches. So my coloured paper is actually 1 inch by 5.25 inches. I'm trying to keep the paper in order so that the rainbow effect on the rainbow paper is kept in order all the way down the card. Finally, I need to make a little piece that's going to hold the card open. I'm just having a little look to work out what size it should be. If I go with 1.25 inches, the same as the piece below my rainbows, that card would stand up very, very straight because I would have a 90-degree angle. And I decided that I wanted mine to slope back just a little bit. So I've gone with 1 inch for my white card and then cut my rainbow paper to have 1/8 of an inch all the way around the outside. But if you want your element to stand up vertically, just use exactly the same measurement on the bottom of your card as on the inside. Now this piece is going to be structural, and so it needs a little bit of height. You could use foam tape or layers of paper. I have found a little piece of fun foam that was floating around in my house from before I went to Japan, and I'm slowly using that up to get some dimension on my cards. This black and white sentiments sheet pack is so old. I think it's the first sentiment sheet pack that Paper Rose Studio came out with, and I have used it and used it and used it, and it's still the one that I reach for the most. And today's card's going to be a congratulations card for somebody that's just found out that they've got into medicine, and they're going to be moving to a new city to study. And so my card says, congratulations, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. When the card's lying down, you have that beautiful sky background, and when you bend it up and poke it in, then the rainbows stand up nice and tall. I'm going to leave you with some pictures of the finished card. I hope that you've enjoyed this little tutorial. You could make this card with anything standing up. So I hope that you'll find a way to use this in your own craft room. Until next time, stay crafty, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.